Greetings, 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 greetings. Yes, people, it's me, Ruben. I come back again. This one's going to be a little bit shorter. Yeah, we're talking about the history of Kemet. Yeah, and we're just following on from the last time, from the last video when we was talking about the old kingdom of Kemet. Yeah, consisting of the third dynasty through to the sixth dynasty. Yeah, so we were talking about, just to refresh your memory, from the third dynasty, when which was started by King Josa, who commissioned the services of Imhotep, who was his high priest of Ra, chief carpenter, sculpture, vase maker, and stone builder, stone mason. He had him build the first step pyramids. Yeah, in that time, these were the first step pyramids that were built, and I think he built some for his son after him as well. And we went on to talk about the fourth dynasty. In that time, developments, it was a time of peace and prosperity. So there was a growth in artistic pursuits. There was a lot more time for that kind of thing. And the design of the pyramids became a lot more sophisticated. So in that time you had the building of the Great Pyramid of Giza, which was built under the King Khufu at that time, and is today, I think it's the biggest pyramid in Egypt, and it today is considered to be one of the 7 great wonders. Okay, so we went on to talk about the 5th dynasty, which was a time of temple building. They were building temples during this period, the various rulers at that time, dedicated to Ra, the spirit force Ra. Okay, this would carry on throughout this dynasty, right through till I think the last couple of kings. It got abandoned, and they were asserting more towards the deity Osiris. I think that was significant, that Osiris was being made to be the main focus of their spirituality at that time, because Osiris, of course, is the ancestor, is the father of the ancestors. And the ancestors being obviously the people who are, the fathers and the mothers, the grandfathers, the descendants, who they are the descendants of as indigenous Egyptian people. It's significant because at that time you had the rise of nobility, and these nobility were in, I would say, most cases, they were of foreign heritage. Yeah, so they were, culturally had different loyalties. So that was becoming a problem as the nobility became more powerful in the country, and towards the during the 5th dynasty, towards the end of the 5th dynasty, this was becoming more pronounced. So going into the 6th dynasty now, it was really, it was really something that was historically, it stands out. There are markings, there are records, and findings that they find that date back to this period, that show that the nobility was very powerful by this time, and the power of the pharaoh had decreased significantly. So this would lead ultimately to the fall of the pharaohs, and it would bring down the old kingdom, the period of the old kingdom, and would bring in a new period. And the new period is what they call the first intermediate period, and basically involved the the country first of all falling under the power of the nobility, and then falling apart. But we'll go into that very quickly. It won't take very long because, like I say, it goes from the 7th dynasty through to the 10th? Oh, just to the start of the 11th dynasty, and it does cover 120 years or so. Okay, from 2181. So basically, the 7th dynasty came about just through the gradual rise in power of what was by then a hereditary nobility. These were people who were working in the royal court, had positions high up within the government, and these were hereditary positions. When they died, they passed their position on to their son, and so on, and this would carry on. So the power of these families was just as significant, if not more, than the king's family himself. Yeah. So during this period, the first intermediate period, it was just a period of power struggles between various provincial nobilities, both of the upper Kemet and lower Kemet, and they would assume the seat of authority for short stints through political and economic devices. So, like particularly during the 7th dynasty, it was a bit of a joke, really. There was the position of the throne was a position that could be bought and sold, and I think it's said over a short period of time, maybe just a few months, that there was maybe more than 100 different rulers over that period of time. People kind of, I don't know, purchasing the role of king. It became almost like a thing where somebody was a king for a day, and whether or not that was contractually that way, where there was just a short period buying themselves, or whether or not they bought that position and they weren't able to hold on to that position because they were dethroned or overthrown in some way or other. I think there was a lot of what you might call skullduggery going on throughout that system. So it wasn't a very long-lived system, shall I say. Yeah. It was, like I say, the nobility would overtake the monarchy, and various individuals, various pretenders to the throne, they would take the throne for themselves for short spells, and between the 7th and the 8th dynasty combined, it didn't last much longer than 2 decades. Yeah. So there were several ancient references alleging rulers of this period, particularly in the ninth dynasty, that carried out acts of evil against the people of Kemet, driven by madness and insanity, which led to the destruction of many temples and architectural structures. Yeah, oops. So if we go a little bit deeper down into Kemet. Oh, having a little bit of problem with my laptop here. Let me just try and fix something on my laptop, if it will let me. I can just open this up. Alright, so I'm just going to look a little bit deeper down into some more information that I have on the ninth dynasty. Yeah, and it's talking about it being a period of violent uprisings, which would mark the introduction of this dynasty. There was a powerful but insane noble lord who took over, and he would garner enough strength and authority to be able to claim the throne outright for himself. Okay, so the seat of power would be based in Lower Kemet, so they would be up north. Alright, so this was a time where the people, the indigenous people, the Egyptian people were, or the people of Kemet, the people of Kemet who were, the poor people, they were under a lot of pressure, a lot of oppression. They were being starved to death in some cases, arrested, accused of crimes or whatever, with no, without any justification, just killed without any reason whatsoever, land taken from them or whatever. The treatment was terrible of these people during this time. Yeah, so this would go through into the 10th dynasty, which is basically a continuation of the 9th dynasty, operating again from lower Kemet, which was up north, but this time they've got a rival dynasty in the north. This dynasty becomes the 11th dynasty, and like I say, they're operating in the north. Okay, so that would carry on until the dynasty in the north, which is a more, I would say, a more indigenous group of people. The people are Kemet, so it's not just the nobility. They are related to the royal families or the monarchy that had existed prior to their fall. So they're operating in the north. I say alongside they're operating in the south, in Upper Kemet, alongside the nobility, the rule that had been established up there, which is at that time now the 10th dynasty, and this carries on operating more or less side by side, kind of harmoniously, but with certain tensions as well underneath. Yeah, so these tensions that were underneath would eventually come to the boil, and that would bring an end to the intermediate period, and would bring about the beginning of the next period, starting from the late 11th dynasty. So we'll be talking on that in the next video, so I don't really want to get into that. So until then, blessings to you all, and we'll catch you then. Yeah, so if you like the video and you like what we're dealing with, why don't you come and check us on our Facebook page, Afraka, Know Yourself.